who's Sam. Hi, Sam. Nice to have you here, joining us. So maybe I'll wait
Thank you,
till next
Laura.
meeting
Appreciate it.
when, if we want to do like introductions. Otherwise, I'm not sure it really makes sense. Sam is representing Fairhaven.
That's correct. Hi, everybody.
So, all right. Can I have an approval of the agenda or any need to make any changes? Motion to approve the agenda?
This is Larry. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Thanks, Larry. So a second.
I would second that.
Thank you, Mark. All in favor to approve the agenda, please say aye.
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 All approved. Thank you. So quick update on district member towns. I mentioned while we were waiting that 4 towns have dropped out as far as members. We're continuing to keep them in the fold. They're described as district non-member towns. They're just unable to provide a representative. So those are Chittenden, Rutland Town, Wells, and West Rutland. So we are in our annual organizational meeting, and next thing on the agenda is nominations, and we'll go through voting. So I would start by accepting nominations for chair.
Mm.
Their nomination for chair.
I nominate Laura.
L. Black is nominated. I accept the nomination.
I would second
Um,
that.
Oh, thanks.
No problem.
I didn't think of that we needed to do that. That's true. Mark, is all in favor of nomination for Laura Black for chair? Please say aye.
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 Any opposed? No, sounds fine. And I think I can just go ahead with voting. So then, do we also, so let's vote for, I guess I have to do it this way. Vote for chair, for Laura Black for chair. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. I'm not sure I have to do that, but I will to roll through this quickly. Okay, nominations for vice chair.
I nominate Larry.
Thank you,
Purcell.
Leslie.
Thank you, Leslie.
I would
Is there-
second that.
Thank you, Mark. All in favor of nominating Larry for vice chair, please say aye.
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 And now, that seems crazy, but okay, all in favor to vote for Larry for vice chair, please say aye.
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 Okay, all set. So we have to continue our to fill our executive committee. We have yes, 4 more places. And the executive committee members have all agreed to continue to serve as executive committee members. So I open the nominations for executive committee members. Sorry about that.
Can we do it as a slate?
Oh, good idea.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great idea. I'm okay with going ahead and filling the slate. So I will fill the slate, a 1-year position. I'm just going to go down the row. For 1-year position with Mike Small. Another 1-year position for Peter Werner. And I would nominate Chris Custer for the 2-year. And Leslie, you're last on the list, so you get the 3-year term.
There you go.
So,
Me and my big mouth.
yeah, really. So the slate of non-officer at-large members for Executive Committee are Mike Small for a 1-year term, Peter Werner for a 1-year term, Chris Custer for a 2-year term, and Leslie Cadwell for a 3-year term. Is there a motion to move that nomination slate forward?
I would move that complete slate forward for the executive committee.
Thank you.
Second, Larry.
Larry, second. Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, very good. And I don't know if I have to, but let's just to vote on that slate, please. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, done. I missed one position. So by statute, the CUDs are required to have a voted clerk position. We've been talking about this in the executive board meeting. Since our clerk stepped down mid last year, I simply have been doing the duties of the clerk, and I'm happy to do those as well as my chair position. And one member, Leslie, has volunteered to take some of the burden of the clerk position, so I'd be happy to delegate meeting minutes to Leslie going forward.
Mhm.
But we do need to actually vote for a clerk. So is
I'll
there a
make-
nomination?
I'll make a nomination to approve Laura Black as clerk.
Sounds good. Thank you, Larry. Is there a second?
I would second that.
Mark, thank you. All in favor to nominate Laura Black as clerk, please say aye.
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 All in favor to vote Laura Black as clerk, please say aye.
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 Okay, done.
Okay.
Appointment of treasurer. We do not have, let's see, one, Larry. Oh, no, we have an executive committee here. Okay. Appointment of treasurer by the executive committee. So the executive committee, we do have a quorum, being myself, Larry, Leslie, and Mike are here. We can appoint the treasurer. The name of the treasurer is Anna Marie Baruco, who she is Rutland Regional Planning Commission's finance assistant. And that appointment would be from July 1st through May 20th, 2026.
Mhm.
So, and then we'll appoint an interim treasurer, who would be Jackie. Thank you, Jackie, for continuing to serve from now until July 1st. And of course, doing the work to transition and maybe some engagement through the year, I can imagine a little bit, especially if we have another audit. So I would ask for a motion from the executive board only to appoint Anna Marie Baruco as the treasurer starting July 1st.
I'll nominate Anne Marie. How do you pronounce her last name again?
I'm probably not pronouncing it right. Jeremy, if you know, I have Barucco. Barusco?
Baruco. I will
Baruco.
nominate her for the treasurer position beginning July 1st.
Thank you, Leslie. Oh, you could make the motion to approve it as a slate for her and then interim treasurer for the interim.
Mhm.
That's okay. Okay, one
Yeah.
at a time.
Yeah.
So is there a second? to appoint the treasurer Anna Marie Baruco start July 1st.
Second, Larry.
Thank you, Larry. All in favor appointing Anna Marie Baruco for our treasurer starting July 1st through May 20th, 2026, please say aye.
Aye.
Larry.
Did Mike get an aye in there?
Mike, you still here? Yep, he eyed.
Okay,
Yeah.
super.
Relayed.
All right. May I have a motion to appoint our interim treasurer, Jackie Savala, for now and through July 1st?
So moved, Larry.
Thank you, Larry. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Leslie. All executive committee members in favor to appoint the interim treasurer, Jackie Savala, please say aye.
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 But
Okay.
Laura, I don't think we have a quorum of executive committee members, do we?
Yeah, we do. We have got
Oh, we do.
4.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we've got Mike
Sorry.
on the line.
Never mind.
Larry's checking on Mike.
He's here.
Or he's-
Yep.
Fine. Okay. Kind of a goofy meeting tonight, eh?
Yes.
So, moving on, item 7 on our agenda, welcome new members. That's Sam. So, I feel, I'm not sure it's even worth going through all of these items, especially since Sam, you and I had a nice chat on the phone when you first came on. I do want to remind everyone of our non-disclosure agreements. I like to do that at every annual meeting. I sent those out. They are important. We're not in the middle of contracts or anything right now, but we do have to abide by and continue to abide by those. The new information that is being transmitted to the Otter Creek are the reports, quarterly performance reports, and those do have information that is not to be disclosed to the public. I actually haven't reviewed those. We've received consolidated so far. We haven't received GoNet speeds. We meet with them tomorrow. To tell you the truth, I don't know the numbers. I don't know what the numbers mean myself at this point, nor which of them are, should be shared. Frankly, I think they're for our information only, and only if there are issues and problems, we might need to go to a wider whoever to manage dealing with them. So that's just a reminder. Next item on that list was Otter Creek CUD responsibilities. Everyone here was involved in the last few meetings where we developed those and reviewed those in detail. So frankly, I'm not going to do that tonight, just with one member. Sam, I think you've had a chance to take a look at them and we talked about them a little bit. Anyone speak up if you have questions and so on. I also sent the resource sheet, which I updated. All of that is on the drive. Mark, you told me that you're not getting emails, so I will resend everything once, I figure out what's up with your email.
Right. I get everything else from my other sources. So
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I do it. Have to leave in 3 minutes too.
Okay. Well, I don't have any other. Well, I do have a motion that I do need I do need approval on something. So I could skip to it.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, sustainability planning. All right. I will essentially move on from the organizational meeting now to our regular governing board meeting. And I don't need to roll call or confirm quorum. We do have a quorum and we will continue this recording. considered, I left approval of the agenda on my list here, but I considered the agenda to be the same. Let me do a quick approval of agenda just in case there's anything odd. Can I have a quick approval of the agenda for the governing board meeting?
I motion to approve
Everybody?
the agenda.
Motion. Thank you, Sam. Second.
Well, don't we have to
Second.
make one change to move up the bylaw so before Mark leaves?
Oh, that's a good idea. Thanks, Leslie.
You're welcome.
All right.
All right.
Let's
So
change.
I'm going to move to approve the agenda with the item number 5, the bylaw amendment coming after we approve the agenda.
Thank you. Sounds good. I'll
Second.
all
Second,
right.
Larry.
Leslie, Larry. Okay, got everyone on there. Very good. All in favor to approve the agenda with that change, please say aye.
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 All right, and we have no members. Well, we have member of the public. Well, I think we moved anyway to do the bylaw amendment next. Oh, the public's going down there. Okay. Yes, chair report. I have one bylaw amendment that I would like to have an approval on. And this is really concerning our change in procedure for the treasurer position and our new financial procedures. So, and I'll have to make a change to our bylaws. But if this is really the only substantial change, and what I'm requesting approval for is for the bylaw to say that the executive committee shall be responsible for reviewing and pre-approving monthly, biannual, and annual operational costs for payment by the treasurer, provided those costs are consistent with the budget, grant agreement.
Can you hear me?
Supported by,
Hi, Laura.
yes?
It's Peter.
Oh, good.
Finally.
All right, we've got one more person. You're right in time to approve the agenda, to approve this motion. I'll repeat
Okay.
it one more
What was-
time. We need a motion to approve a bylaw. It's not to approve the bylaw, but this is going to be an amendment to the bylaw. So I'm requesting approval for the executive committee to be responsible for reviewing and pre-approving monthly, biannual, and annual operational costs for payment by the treasurer, provided those costs are consistent with the budget, grant agreement, supported by adequate documentation and evidence of work done if that's relevant.
So I
Okay.
move to approve the bylaw, but I'd like some clarity in just that first sentence. Is it going to be the executive committee shall be responsible, or is it executive committee is? I don't think we need is and then in parentheses shall be. I think it's either one or the
Right.
other.
Right.
So I guess what I would do is move for a bylaw amendment that reads, the executive committee shall be responsible for reviewing and pre-approving monthly, biannual, and annual operational costs for payment by the treasurer, provided they are consistent with the budget and the grant agreement, supported by adequate documentation and evidence of work done if when relevant.
As you said, I agree. I deleted the is. Very
I'll
good.
second that, Larry.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Thank you. All in favor to approve this amendment for the bylaws, please say aye.
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 Fantastic. Okay, everyone dismissed. All right, thank you, Mark, if you have to run, I understand.
Yeah, I do. Now, Laura, just one question. Is it true that we just lost a ton of money to keep this going? I
No,
read an article like 2 weeks ago saying that the current administration in Washington pulled all the money.
well, for one thing, our construction is complete, so,
Right.
no,
fine.
my understanding is the money that was pulled, what has been in the news, was the money for, Vermont's money for digital equity. But the BEAD funding that is still in question, I think that's still there so far. So no,
Okay.
there's been no changes that affect Otter Creek CUD.
All right.
Thanks,
Good.
Mark.
Very good to hear. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Have a good meeting. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks
Mark.
for sticking with
Thanks,
that,
Mark.
Mark. Appreciate it.
See you guys.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Let's just go back to item 4, public input. Jose, did you want to have public input, or are you just attending for, I don't know if he's still there.
I think
No,
he
he's
left.
gone.
He's gone.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't think we don't have other members of the public. So next item, number 5, Otter Creek Chair Report, is the memorandum of agreement on the proposed services by Rutland Regional. We do have a final agreement now. Back in our March meeting, we did vote to approve that memorandum of agreement. And it was voted that I could sign it as long as it was substantially similar to the draft that we presented then. So the draft that I have now hasn't changed other than the date to commence services on July 1st, the staff person to be assigned as the treasurer. Actually, I don't think that's in the agreement, but it just says there'll be a staff person. And the other minor change, I think it's minor, is that Rutland Regional Planning Commission will be the sole signer of checks. We had written something that there would be 2 people signing. I think that we were talking about that. But as they alerted me to the statute, really it's the treasurer who has the sole responsibility for checks for signing checks and being responsible for the funds. So that sounds reasonable to me. Doesn't seem like a big change, especially since we've made a procedure where the executive committee is pre-approving all of the invoices that have to be paid. So I invite discussion, but and any objections, but I intend to sign that memorandum either tonight or tomorrow morning. And Rutland Regional is ready to sign as well. So we'll be glad to move on with that and then move on with the procedures that all need to be changed a bit to move on to have them as the treasurer. Any questions or thoughts?
My only question or thought is, will that will be made available so that people can review it and understand its terms? Like for us on the someplace?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. That's
I
all.
could make it available to, I can send it now.
Really just for the
I just-
executive, just for the executed copy.
Yeah, oh yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
No,
that's
I'll
all.
share it.
I just want to
It'll be
make
put
sure
on
that
the-
that's shared with everyone. Yeah.
on
great.
the drive. Yeah. Yep. Okay, moving on. So financial procedures amendments, those will need to be the financial procedures will need to be amended. We'll work together with Rutland Regional Planning Commission to make a complete amended document, and we'll present that probably in the August meeting. Our single audit, next thing, that is apparently complete. I expected actually to have received a draft last week, which I didn't yet. So, but we haven't been asked for more information. So hopefully that's all going very well. Financials, I can review the warrants approved at the April and the May executive meetings. I apologize, didn't have these exactly ready. See if I have them right here. Yep. So we had two warrants. One was for construction. It's hopefully our last. Oh, we had two warrants at our 4/16 meeting. One was for construction and one was for kind of our usual payments. I'm looking for a presentation. Here, share. Window. Okay. Oops. That was the warrant for $644,688.09. That was approved for construction. The next one was the and this is the warrant for our kind of our usual monthly invoices, our website management, project management by Vantage Point, our Google Workspace and our Seward bookkeeping services. So a pretty minor one. Oops. Okay, and
Laura,
there
that one was,
Go ahead.
I
Questions?
think that was April you just showed us.
Yes, there were April 16th, and then there's one for in May
May 14th.
14th.
Yeah.
Which, let me find that one. I'm not sure I put it in my folder, so
I've got
hang
all
on
the
a second.
numbers.
But
Okay.
I can, yeah, if you have the numbers, I think it was 40-some thousand.
Yeah,
The
well, the May 14th, 2025 warrant was in the amount of $28,747.54.
yes. I got it right here, actually. And that includes most of the cost of our audit. So it was $20,000 for our audit. We had a little bit of legal fees in there. We had some more costs on Vantage Points because Caleb has been assisting with the audit quite a bit, as well as may include some of his work on the closeout reports from our construction grant. So that's the state of our recent warrants. Just reviewing grant funds. As far as our construction grant, we should be closing that up. I asked Consolidated to tell me if they're going to have any more costs, and she hasn't gotten back to me, but she has been in touch. If there are some invoices or bits of funds, it's not going to be much. They have already invoiced their 10% retainer, so that should be pretty well closed. As far as our pre-construction grant, we still have plenty of money. We started the year with just under $1 million available, and we essentially only spend like, what you just saw. Can be 4,000 or 5,000 a month, or then we have the significant costs of the audit and so on. So let's see. I put an item for financials to review anticipated and incurred, well, anticipated operational costs for 2025. Our operational costs should be our continued monthly operational costs, such as you saw on the warrants. One other large invoice that we're going to get momentarily are the OCCUD dues. Those should be $10,000. Okay, Peter is still on with us? Yes. So I think we still have a quorum. So next item is to approve previous meeting minutes from March 19th, 2025.
Presumably, I wouldn't be able to vote on those, Laura. So does it still constitute a quorum?
Good question. There's a quorum here. So out of the quorum, yeah, I think so. Anyone can call me on that. I'm not a specialist on Robert's rules. But there's a quorum of the meeting, and just because some members have to recuse themselves from the vote, I don't think that matters. So is there more motion to approve the meeting minutes from March 19th?
Motion to approve is presented.
Second.
I'll second it. Peter?
Peter and Leslie at tied. All in favor to approve the meeting minutes from March 19th, 2025, please say aye.
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 And one abstention. Okay. Excuse me. Consolidated update. As I mentioned, the first quarterly report was just received. We will be reviewing it with them at tomorrow's meeting. If anyone is welcome to attend tomorrow's meeting, let me know if you'd like to. It's at, I have to look, 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock? 3 o'clock, I think. I've asked them if they,
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock, okay. I've asked Consolidated if they have any further invoices, especially VCBB wants to know if they'll be invoicing any further. Going to speed update. They have not sent, so I'm going to bug her. They should be sending their quarterly report. They should have sent it this week also, so they're a little behind on that. The only other news is that they sent a press release out announcing their construction completion in Benson, Castleton, Hubbardton, and Sudbury. They asked me to provide a little quote. I just said something about how they've been a great partner in our mission to provide access to high-speed broadband. Grant reports. Caleb, do you want to give us just the brief one too?
Yeah, yep. So Laura asked me to give a brief overview of both grants for some of the new members. So I'll go ahead and do that. So there's been 2 grants. The first one is the pre-construction grant that was received in October of 2022 for around $1.35 million. And that gets paid on a reimbursement basis. So each month, like we just went over, we submit our approved invoices to VCBB, and then they'll receive reimbursements on those expenses once they're approved by VCBB up to the 1.35 million amount. These expenses cover everything from Otter Creek besides the actual construction of the infrastructure. That's from operational expenses, legal services, the single audit that was just conducted, accounting services through Seward, and Associates. My company, Vantage Point, has grant management, project management, and so on. To date, of the 1.35 that was awarded, Otter Creek has expended just over 365,000. So there's still just under 1 million remaining in pre-construction funds.
Right.
And then for the second grant is the construction grant. And this one was received January of 2024 for a little over 8.5 million. And that's specifically for network infrastructure build. This build was by Consolidated, began construction June 2024 and was completed in the end of October 2024. So it's pretty quick. This also is through reimbursement basis, and of the 8.5 that was awarded, total construction ended up being just over 5.5 million, which leaves just under 3 million remaining. So that's a brief update on both of those grants.
Perfect. Thank you, Caleb.
Yep.
I really appreciate that. That was very nice and clear
Mhm.
on the finances. All right, VCUDA update. Larry, anything exciting and new? Or what's going on at VCUDA?
Nothing really exciting. We met Tuesday. Recently, Ellie DeVillers, who's the chair of VCUDA, and Christine Hallquist, chair of VCBB. VCB were in Washington, D.C., attending a conference regarding public broadband. They got a lot of comments from other attendees that they like what Vermont is doing with our program. The BEAD program, they're just waiting to see what's going to happen with that from the federal government. Now it's public information on the roundtable. EC Fiber and its chair are being sued by GWI, which is Great Works Internet. They took over from Valley Net, which was doing the work for EC Fiber. And Valley Net transferred the operating to GWI, which is focused on upgrading EC Fiber's network. Anyone's interested, it was in Vermont Digger, April 11th, 2025, that article. So he's got his hands full. And also EC Fiber has a huge debt service. Lamoille FiberNet will complete phase 2 by midsummer. And Christine Hallquist, chair of VCBB, thanked everyone for the work on the KPI reports. And which is not news now anymore, but the digital equity grant has been canceled by the federal government. And the rest is legislative and policy, but I can do that, or Laura, you have that.
Yeah, I didn't attend today, but there wasn't much on the agenda other than what you already mentioned, Larry, about the exec directors who attended the event in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, on the open meeting law requirements, again, we have Jeremy there sitting there at our RPC hosting this. They lobbied to have the CUDs exempt from having a physical address, but there was no path forward. They didn't get that through in the legislative, and they'll try again next year. And right now, the Legislative and Policy Committee is in a bit of a lull. So, in the report.
There were two, I think everybody knows from past meetings, there were two bills that VCUDA was involved in that affect the CUDs and all telecommunications companies, probably. One is an affordability bill and the other is a consumer protection bill. Neither of those made it through pass-through, so they're in committees and to be discussed next year. Okay, next on agenda. We're almost there. VCBB update. I have no news other than what we just mentioned with the funding that was removed. For the digital equity program. Sorry. Okay. Other business. One thing that was brought up at the recent executive committee meeting was mention of the summer picnic that we had last year. Though I'm open to any thoughts and ideas on that. I thought it was really fun, though, and really nice to meet everyone in person. We had been working really hard together, I think over a year when we were meeting monthly and more often. I do feel like we're really stepping back. We're only meeting quarterly, so it's kind of like we don't have as much going on. I'd be happy to be involved in planning something like that together if anyone did want to try to pull it together again. We had it at Bombazine State Park for anyone who wasn't. Just we rented the pavilion there. It was really nice. We did have, as probably everybody else knows, maybe Brett, you weren't here. Sam, you definitely weren't here, but we asked our partners to sponsor it. We can't really use grant money to have a party, so and they were happy too. So we did a little catered food thing and it was really nice, but it takes a little bit to get together and we got to beg for some money or dig into our own pockets for it. So open to talking about it now or by email or whatever. We'd probably want to do it in, I don't know, August or September. Or I don't know, maybe, we could think of piggybacking on some event, like say, if there's some, I don't know, I think of a farmer market or something and say, hey, I'm gonna be there. Anybody else just like to have a little meetup kind of thing, but I don't know. Any ideas? Go for it. And then the other thing I thought of throwing on our list is to talk about Front Porch Forum, whether we want to buy another 6-month subscription. I'm going to vote no on that, actually. I don't know if people are seeing our blurbs in the Front Porch Forum. I hope so. But now I'm not getting many public inquiries. I was getting, 2, 3, 4 a month. 4 was probably the most, where through our website contact, we'd get inquiries and requests for assistance on their broadband service construction or whatever, if they were having any difficulties. So we were really able to help people. I definitely want to continue that. Not sure that Front Porch Forum is worth spending the time and money on. I think we have a couple more months that we can post something because it was a 6-month, maybe just, yeah, 6. We bought 6 months, $900 for 6 months to post in all of our district towns. So any thoughts on that? I think I would request board approval to spend those big bucks once again. And I'd have to pull you together for a quorum to do so.
Laura, is this something the executive committee can decide on, or you need the full board? I would agree with you on not participating in the future with Front Porch Forum.
Yeah, because at the last time we approved it for 6 months. We approved one subscription. So I think it's right to ask the board to approve another one. If we had said, yes, let's just keep going until we feel like it's time to stop, then I'd say executive committee could. But because we got approval from the board for 6 months, I kind of feel like the board said, just do one 6-month subscription.
I don't know that I have enough context to contribute meaningfully to whether or not we should continue with this. It does. If I were asked to vote on it, I suppose I do have a few questions about how long we've been participating. Was it just the 1 6-month term, or has it been for much longer prior than that?
Good question. We definitely did another 6 month prior, so I can't remember if we did the whole year of 2024 or if we only did like the second half. Is Mike still on, Larry? Can ask him. He's
This was
managed it.
this was the second 6-month term that we did.
Thank you, Jackie.
So
When the decision was
Wait,
made to start
Mike,
spending the money on Front Porch Forum, sorry, maybe I'm a little laggy. When the decision was made to start spending the money, was there a sense of what the conversion rate would be on those spots, those ad spots?
What's the conversion rate? What do you mean by that?
I guess I wonder what the expectation was going in, what the return on investment would be in terms of
Right.
leads, if it was being measured in terms of
Right.
click-through rate or conversion rate literally being the number of people who participated in the given program against how many ad impressions were served, or like what
Yeah.
whatever the metrics were. Because as you said, it sounds like there was a larger response and it's maybe been dwindling, but without any sense of like what the expectation versus the reality and what the trends over time have been in like a sort of concrete way. I don't really know that I feel like I can personally like vote on it one way or the other. Like it's hard to form an opinion.
Yeah. That's a good
Laura-
point, Sam. Thanks.
Laura,
I don't know
muted.
if
I was muted earlier when Mike responded. So Mike, I'm unmuted if you want to respond again about the 6 months.
Responding to that question, we had a subscription for Front Porch Forum for 2 6-month terms.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. So,
I mean, there's no revenue that we
with-
receive from this. It's all just promoting broadband, and our ISPs are the ones that profit from it, not Otter Creek.
Right.
Do- but do
So,
we?
but how? So then, when I'm sorry.
Sam, you brought up a good point. I don't know if there is a way to, one, does Front Porch Forum, can they tell us how many clicks they've had on our Front Porch Forum post? And then second would be from the Front Porch Forum post, I don't think anyone could give us this, how many clicks there would be on our website, or has our website had, more activity recently or since we've been on Front Porch Forum? Those would be the questions that you asked.
Yeah, there's certainly ways to measure all of that. I mean, it would depend, as far as the activity on the website, that would depend on things on our end. But as far as click-through rates for the ad itself, Front Porch Forum should be more than capable of providing those metrics. They should be able to tell you exactly how many people viewed the ad, exactly how many people clicked the ad over a given time frame, with a certain margin of error, but a small margin.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a good thought. And I guess we would have to find out. Mike, I could ask you to try to get that information from them. Again, from the lack of inquiry that we've had to Otter Creek in general, I kind of feel like letting it go. Oh, and here's another thing we could do is let it go and make a decision at the August meeting of whether to pick it up in after our August meeting.
So
So rather than
Leslie,
try to get together again. And
sorry, sorry to interrupt. I'm uncomfortable with this conversation now. It wasn't noticed, and we don't have a quorum. So,
Yes, I think we do if Peter is still on.
no, he's not on. He's
Oh.
been gone for a little bit.
Okay.
Um,
Oh,
but I
yeah.
am just, this discussion is really good, and it would be helpful to have that discussion with, properly noticed with, with other members of the group. I think Sam's questions are great. I'm just
Mhm.
concerned about time and the fact that it wasn't clearly put on the agenda, and we don't have enough people to actually do a vote. So
No,
I
right.
think we should move this to the August meeting.
Yep. Yep. And actually, that's exactly what I was proposing. But thanks, Leslie. One, I didn't realize that we lost Peter and Mark. So yeah, we're down. And yeah, this was just in other business. So it's not really, I don't know. I think we can talk about it, but not with any, we'd have to bring it up again. So, thanks. Frankly, I mean, this is, I like the conversation, and I'm going to ask Mike to try to find that information through Front Porch Forum, and then I'll put it on the agenda in August.
And if there if this information, I'm sure it's available in the minutes somewhere whenever the decision was originally made to start spending the money. But yeah, just a general sense of when we decided we wanted to put the money towards it in the beginning, what was the expectation? Like, what were we hoping for? What were the outcomes that we were hoping for, and how were we planning on measuring them, if any? I guess I would be curious
Right.
to know.
I think the if any is pretty much where we were.
Yeah.
I don't think we planned on that. It's really, I think I felt like it's hard to make the public aware of Otter Creek. And that was one of the ideas that we came up with. Because
Yeah.
Pretty much it's,
And I mean,
people don't know who we are.
as a subscriber myself, I'm a little bit biased to think that it is a good way of educating people about what we do.
Yeah.
But again, that's heavily biased because I read it. So
Yeah, exactly. Well, I hadn't either until this started. So okay. Well, I'll ask, does anyone else have other business for a meeting tonight? And our next governing board meeting is August 20th. And by the way, executive board members who are here, I think we're gonna probably have to meet. Well, I'll send you an email. I think we're gonna have to pull together one more meeting in June. So, anything else? Or I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. And I'm really sorry about the mess up with the meeting
no worries,
link
Laura.
and so on. And thank you for your help, Jeremy.
So I'll move to adjourn.
Thank you, Leslie. There's
I'll second that
on
motion. I will. I don't know if you can hear me. I'll second that motion.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Sam. All in favor to adjourn? Say
Aye.
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 All right. We'll see you all soon, or not that soon. Have a wonderful summer.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Yep, thank you.
And
Thanks,
talk
Laura.
soon.
Aye.
Thanks.